Hi, I'm Sean Ismelson and welcome to Bidversity. I'm going to go through the Daisy DeFi LaunchPad, and I'm going to do this as simple as possible and give you a couple of concepts along the way to sort of bring it into perspective for those of you who are very new to the cryptocurrency field. So what exactly does DeFi mean for starters? All right, so that is decentralized finance. Imagine this. This is you, and you put your money in the bank. Then there is a project that needs finances. They need financing to sort of get along, right? So you put your money in the bank takes your money, and they finance things, and they make good returns. So the bank may make what you could call 4x, 8x, 100x on their money, meaning they make 4 times, 8 times, 100 times on the money that they invest. This is just a very ballpark figure of what could go on. They then pay you interest on your money, and they pay you handsomely, something along the lines of 0.000001x or whatever it works out. As a matter of fact, one thing you are guaranteed with fiat currency created by the banks is that you are guaranteed that it will go down in value. What actually happens on the other side of this is what venture capitalists do. There's also something that banks get involved with, and that is that they invest in new projects. They finance them. DeFi is simply decentralized finance, where they cut out the bank and you invest directly, and you have the ability to make 4x, 8x, 100x on your money. That is DeFi in a very simplified manner. Now let's have a look at how venture capitalists may invest in a project. And venture capitalists, of course, can be banks using your money. So there's a project that needs financing. This project, they do a first release of the shares at 1 cent to insiders. Now, what happens is there is a second round where they release them at 2 cents. Then there's a third round where they will release them at 4 cents, and a fourth round where they release them at 8 cents. At that stage, it's going to become available to the public, and they may release it on the actual exchange itself for 100 cents. So the people that come in here, let's say a bank puts in $1 million. Here it's 2 million, in round 3 it's 4 million, in round 4 it's 8 million, meaning that they have made 8x on their money. And many venture capitalists get out at this stage. Of course, the smart ones might just sell $1 million, maybe 2 million, double their money. Now they've got 6 million left. When it goes to 100x, well, they've made a lot of money. Remember that this is quite often done with the very money that you have lent to the banks. But it's not exclusively so. There are venture capitalist firms that just simply specialize in doing this. This would normally happen with what we would call an IPO, an initial public offering. The initial public offering is what is known as in the stock market. The initial public offering goes to the insiders first, then it goes to the public. We're going to draw the comparison here to what Daisy are doing with their token. Then you've got what we'll call an ICO, which became popular known in 2017 as an initial coin offering versus an initial public offering. Then you've got an IEO, which is an initial exchange offering, or in Daisy's case, an IDO, where the D stands for decentralized exchange. You don't need to know all this, of course. I'm just putting it into perspective. Now you see what the rich boys do. They go high risk, high return. You can imagine if they have just one of these come through, it doesn't matter how many of these they lose. Effectively, they're going to be in profit by having a couple of real good ones. This gives you the opportunity through Daisy to come in on something that can go 2x, 4x, 8x, 50x or 100x, and I'll show you how that works with the Daisy LaunchPad. As you may be aware, Daisy have got 100,000 members at the moment. As you probably also can imagine, that's probably going to increase pretty quick. As a matter of fact, for that to go to 500,000 in the next few months is very possible, because right now the public are starting to realize that this is something serious. So just with 100,000 community, it's very easy to incentivize that community once they understand what we've already done in such a short time with Endotech, what would happen with other businesses when Daisy provides a decentralized finance launchpad for these other businesses. And they have already got a community of 100,000 people who have the experience already of seeing how it's gone with a previous project, and now they have the opportunity to jump in on new projects. So Daisy now goes in the next few weeks to its 100,000 members, and it says we're going to do 3 rounds of token releases exclusively for our members only. So you have to be in Daisy in order for this to be offered to you. And the first round, they're going to sell their tokens at 10 cents. There's going to be 100 million of these available. Then in the second round, they're going to offer them to us again. And if we decided that we didn't get enough of the first round, we can buy more at 25 cents, which again is another 100 million. Each time it's 10% of the supply, because there actually are 1 billion tokens available as the Daisy DeFi Launchpad token. Then the third release is going to release at $1. Again, another 100 million. Exclusively, all 3 exclusively only to Daisy members. At that stage, it's going to go to the public. The public's then going to be able to buy it between $1 and $5, whatever they decide to do it, and they'll probably step it up. Then it's going to go on the exchange at $5. At least that's the plan. Let's say it goes to $5 and establishes itself at $5. If it establishes itself at $5, then that means that we are 50x on our return if we bought it at 10 cents. That's 500 cents. So we've gone 50 times our money. So if you buy 100, you got $10 worth. You're going to have 50 times $10. If you buy 1,000, you got $100 worth. You're going to have 50 times $100. You get the picture, right? This is how incredibly vast wealth is built. Imagine Facebook, imagine Amazon, imagine Microsoft, and imagine all the stories that you and I and everyone else have had and told and dreamt about getting into Amazon in 1997 or whatever, right? Of course, it's something that very few of us did, but many of us wish we had the fortitude to even have thought about it back then. The people that got in at 10 cents are now sitting on them at hundreds of dollars. Well, they're very happy campers. But in the crypto space, you have the ability to see this rise very fast, because ordinary people have the ability to come along and get involved. We are ordinary people sitting in the Daisy platform, and we happen to have the opportunity to be in the right place at the right time. Then of course what we got to weigh up is what is our risk pain level, if you like. With some people, they'll lose sleep if they're risking $100. Other people can lose sleep over 100,000. So it's different for different people. Now the way I see it, and this is my assumption here, is that you will be able to purchase tokens according to what level tier you're at. Now, this is what I've been told, but this is how I've worked it out. Based on how many tokens there are 1 billion tokens. There are 100 million being made available in each release, so that's 300 million tokens. There are 100,000 members, so I'm basing it all on these figures. So for instance, if you are at tier 1 in your crowdfunding with Daisy, so you're in tier 1, you've spent $100, then Daisy will allow you to purchase $100 worth of tokens. In the first release, that would be 1,000 tokens. In the second release, that would be 250 tokens. You get the picture, right? If you're in tier 2, you would have spent $300 in total, 100 plus 200. So now you're allowed to purchase 3,000 tokens on the first release, or a quarter of that in the second release. Right? You get the picture again. If you're at tier 10, well, you have spent 102,300 on your tiers, and you would be allowed to purchase that same amount in tokens, which would give you 1,023,000 tokens at 10 cents. Now, let's just entertain the idea, because there will be people doing this, and we are certainly doing this in some of our syndicates. If we got 1 million tokens at 10 cents, and they go up 50 times, $50 million in tokens. Right now, that is of course a possibility, not a reality at this stage. But what I'd like to do now is share with you what another DeFi LaunchPad has done, who's got exactly 1 billion tokens. So I'm going to jump onto the screen now and share coinmarketcap.com with you. On the screen here you can see Bitcoin is the #1 crypto in the world. Currently, at the time of this video, 37,000 US dollars. If we go down to number 11, which it was yesterday, there we go, Uniswap is $26 a token. It's got 1 billion tokens. I know that because I've researched it. And if I click into the graph and have a look at it, you'll see currently $26 a token. There are 1 billion in circulation, and in September last year there were 48 cents. Now, I haven't followed Uniswap. I just know that it's a DeFi token, and it's effectively, from what I understand, a launchpad for businesses, pretty much what Daisy is doing with Endotech right now and are proposing to do with their token. So as you can see now, it's gone from $40 odd down to $25, $26. So we got 1 billion tokens with Uniswap. They started at 48 cents. All right, that 48 cents sort of fits into that range there. But where did the 48 cents actually fall in? Well, they fell in at the exchange level. So the 48 cents, I don't know if that was the price they actually launched it at officially, but what I do know is that there were venture capitalists coming in before then, and I guarantee you they did not pay 48 cents. It's a fair chance there were people paying a cent or 5 cents or 10 cents at some stage for that token that is now $25. Let's say they bought it at 10 cents and it's now $25. Well, they are now 250x on their money. This is how ordinary people can make extraordinary money. Of course, it is also possible to lose your bank on this too. So it's very important that you do not exceed your risk levels of what is reasonable. For instance, I wouldn't recommend anyone to go out and mortgage their house to get involved with this. Sure, there will be people telling you that that's a good idea, but can you afford to lose your house? You get the point, right? At the end of the day, you need to mitigate the risk and work out what is right for you. I'm putting the amount in that I feel that I can afford, the amount I can afford to risk, and I am personally very biased towards Daisy because of my involvement with them now for 6 months. So I've had a daily involvement with Daisy for that long. So to me, this project works. You may be brand new. This may be the first time or your first week or day of research into Daisy. So what you need to do is go through the YouTube channels, check things out, and then weigh it all up yourself. What I can tell you is this, that if you research the past about something that's happening in the future that not many have done, or maybe not at all, well, you can't research the future because it hasn't happened. So if you do that based on the past, in my opinion, anything you do, including buying a house, is a gamble that can result in a 100% loss. So that's what you got to weigh it up. So I say every time you do something like this, the sophisticated smart investors, they like to call it speculating. That's just a very, very neat fancy word for gambling at the end of the day. I believe anything you do is a gamble when it comes to money, when you invest it. You're putting it in someone else's hands. What you got to weigh up is that is the upside worth it for you? And you put in the amount that's worth it to you. $100, $1,000, $10,000, whatever it is. Just make sure you can sleep at night if you lose that money. Great. Now, have I talked you out of it? Good. Because what I want to do is make sure that the people that are suitable for this project come in and the ones who aren't walk away. And then we avoid the pain and we're going to have a bunch of really positive people involved in this project. I think there's a massive upside in this. Absolutely. The last thing to go over here is the actual bonuses that you can get through Daisy by being part of it already, or if you become part of Daisy. The first one I want to go over is the pay setters. Let's write PS. So the existing pay setters are getting a bonus given to them, which is going to be given to them around about the 11th of June. Now remember, there are 1 billion tokens and they're going to give 1% of that 1 billion tokens to the pay setters, which is 10 million tokens. I'll write them out like this. 10 million tokens are going to get given to all the pay setters. Currently, when I checked, there are 305 pay setters in Daisy right now. Let's say there will be 1,000 pay setters. Because, let's face it, you're incentivized to become a pay setter, right? If there are 1,000 pay setters, well then every pay setter is going to get 10,000 tokens. Pretty simple, right? If there are only 500 pay setters, which might be more realistic, then every pay setter will get 20,000 tokens. Now, if the token was to go up 50x, well, 20,000 times 50, that's going to look good in anyone's wallet. I think that's probably a no-brainer. Then there's also the pay setter leadership bonus, which they're also going to pay out 1% for. If you're a pay setter leader, even better. It means that you've got 3 pay setters that you personally brought into the business. So then now let's look at something that is more achievable for everyone. For instance, between now and the 11th of June, if you bring in 4 people into Daisy and they were to fund Daisy in their crowd fund of $1,000 between them, 4 people, then you also qualify for a share of that 1%. That 1% of the billion, which is 10 million tokens. Let's write that out again, 10 million. So 4 people at tier 2, which is $300 each. It's a funny dollar sign. That is tier 2. That will be 1,200 total. So if you get 4 people at tier 2 into Daisy, you then qualify to be part of that. Let's say there are 10,000 people who do this, so 1 in 10 of the 100,000, then you would get 1,000 tokens. Pretty good, right? Especially if it goes 50x. right? So what is the benefit for someone to come into Daisy now? All right, well, think about this. For you to approach someone to come into Daisy, first of all, they're investing 300 USDT into Daisy for you to qualify, right? What do they get for that 300? Well, first of all, they'll get 150 in shares in Endotech for coming on board. So $150 into Endotech and $150 into AI trading. So now they're going to have 150 that they're earning trading rewards on and 150 which will come into shares in Endotech by the end of 2022, which could be worth anything, right? Not only that, but they're also allowed to purchase $300 worth of the Daisy DeFi LaunchPad token. So now you have got yourself an even bigger incentive to get people in. Well, they have got something juicier to come in on. Because if they buy $300 worth of the Daisy tokens on top of what they have, they might come in at the 10-cent level, as I showed you before. See, I thought my notes were still here. And they may get 3,000 tokens. And what if they go up 4x, 8x, 10x, 50x? If they went 50 times, well, that's the possibility, isn't it? That's just if the token settles at $5. Remember, Uniswap is sitting at $28 now. It was 48 cents in September, right? It hasn't even gone for a year. So is it possible? Absolutely. Is it possible for it to go even further? Absolutely. Now, the other thing too, without getting too technical, this billion tokens, these 1 billion tokens, they are a deflationary model, meaning that they will offer staking and to burn tokens, which means they're going to reduce the amount of tokens in the market over time without creating new ones, which means that when you are sitting on a token and the supply gets smaller and smaller, your token effectively becomes worth more and more. A great example is BNB. BNB is the Binance token. So with Binance, what they do is every quarter they burn tokens. So if you're sitting on a token, I remember I had tokens that were $40 a few years ago. Then they went to $500. I think they're about $300 now. But regardless, it just goes up in value because of the fact that they're simply reducing the supply. And when more and more people want something and the supply is being reduced, it goes up in value. So now for the final part of this presentation. There will be 1 billion tokens with Daisy. With those 1 billion tokens, to start with, they will want you to stake your tokens. When you're staking your tokens, it means that you've effectively just locked them away for a period of time, which means that they know they're not being traded on the market, which makes the supply more stable. While you're staking these tokens, they will pay you interest on those tokens. And that interest will get paid into your Daisy position via the smart contract. So what it means is that if you want to hold these long term, then you can simply just stake them, which is like literally putting it into a term deposit in a bank account, just a lot more reliable probably. You will earn interest dividend on that because that is giving stability to the platform. And as some of these tokens are getting burnt, they're getting reduced, so there will be less and less tokens over time. As projects are launching left, right and center, you're receiving dividends into your Daisy position and you're getting dividends, earning trading rewards, you're making percentages, you're earning tokens, whichever it is, and it just means that you got another income source in your Daisy position. My parting advice to you is really simple. and I take this from my own life experience, and that is that in life you have expectations. And those expectations, wherever they are, they got to compare with reality somehow. And a really simple way to work out whether or not you're going through life happy or unhappy is whether or not your expectations are higher than reality or lower than reality. In other words, realistic or unrealistic. If this is reality, let's say it's going to rain on Sunday, you've got plans to be in the park, and you go, no, it can't rain because if it rains, it's going to ruin my day. Well, the weather forecast is 100% likelihood of rain. It rains, you're going to be unhappy because you had unrealistic expectations. Likewise, if you invest $100 into something like Daisy, and your expectations are that you may make $100 profit over 3, 6 or 12 months, well, they're probably realistic expectations. But if you think your $100 in reality is going to turn into 10,000, you're going to be unhappy. And that is the type of person who's going to lose sleep and probably even become unhealthy due to their unrealistic expectations. My advice is really simple. Give yourself realistic expectations and don't get in any deeper than you really are comfortable doing. If you can't swim, don't go in past your waist. Finally, one thing to be very grateful for, and that is that in the past, you had an attitude, reactions and responses to life, and actions that got you to where you are today. Likewise, in the future, you're going to have results because of the attitude, responses, reactions, and actions that you took today. And for that, we can be grateful because we are 100% accountable for all of the results we have today because of what we did in the past. And what we do today is what we have in the future. Thank you very much. My name is Sean Asmussen. Thank you for visiting Bitversity. If you like this video, please drop me a like, a comment, and please subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you.